Hey guys, today we are installing a Bootz surround, and this is with the Bootz Aloha tub, and I had to set that in place. And this is the third one of these I have installed. I've done this twice in 2 other bathrooms, and I feel like I remember it being more difficult than it was this time. They say you want to make sure everything is perfectly level and plumb, but of course we know nothing is perfect. So you'll see when I install this, I mean, if your tub's way out of level, this is not going to work. But if you got a little variance, you'll see in the video where I had a slight variance and I shimmed up this side. This piece goes in first, so the important part is getting this piece level and everything clicks and connects off of that. But I was able to make it work with a micro adjustment. So the important thing to remember with something like this, guys, is don't make it so big in your head and super intimidating. This is 4 pieces. It's this piece, and these 2 pieces. And it's like big puzzle pieces, and they just screw in. So until you caulk it at the end, you can unconnect them, you can try again. Don't overwhelm yourself with it because you can take it back apart. It's literally just 4 big pieces. So I was really happy with this. A lot of times I tile bathrooms in my rentals, and gosh, it takes me weeks. And you know, coming in after work, whenever I have time, this I was able to get in like an hour. And so this has saved me so much time on my project. It looks great. I think it's really nice looking. It's nice that it has this whole shelf back here. You have a lot of storage for it being a surround, and I'm really happy with it and the way it looks and the time that it saves. So without further ado, let's get to it. We're gonna start. Okay, so I bought this at my Home Depot, and I was able to get it off the shelf and tip it onto the cart by myself, but the packaging is kind of heavy. So what I do once I get on site is I just open it in the bed of my truck and bring in each of these pieces. Every panel that you're working with, you should be able to carry. There's 4 of these. There's 2 back panels and 2 side panels. So yeah, if you don't have an extra set of hands or a helper, just open it up and bring it into your house or job site panel by panel. There's 4 pieces. There's not a lot to it. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna put this back panel on and make sure that it is level. Now keep in mind, if you slide this into place, we have this stick out right here. I'm probably gonna turn off the water and take this off when I actually put this panel in so that I can slide this in and have a little bit more room. But for now, we're just gonna work around it. I don't wanna turn off the water until that time comes.
My fit was snug enough that this bottom piece just fit in place for a second, but if not, you might have to put a screw on it. You just wanna make sure it doesn't tilt out and break or crack or anything.
So everything's gonna go off this as your baseline. This is gonna be your kind of what you're working off of. So if it's not level, you're either going to have to reset your tub or make a slight adjustment to get this piece level, because everything works off of this. They clip together. And I gotta tell you, this is the weirdest thing, because obviously this tub came from the manufacturer. But this tub, when I level it out in the middle, it seems like I have a bit of a bow there from there to there, and there's like in the middle, there's a low spot, which I just can't figure out. So this is within the level, but it's not perfectly centered in the bubble. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna take the chance of installing this, because I don't know why I have this weird dip in the middle. And then if I can't fit it together, then we'll take it back out and figure out why. But I'm gonna go ahead and just put this in like this without raising this side up. I might shim it up just a little bit over there. I got some shims. Let's do it. I just can't figure out why, like that side touches and that side touches, but I have that dip in the middle, which I also could see when I was just setting the tub as well. I can't figure out why it's doing that. I don't know why it's bowed in the middle. And I have my stringer in the back too. So I'm really just a little confused. I just don't like that. All right, so I just screw this in. I'm going to drill these holes, and then I am gonna use I'm gonna use a long last screw. I think they tell you to use a pan head screw. The instructions look like it's a screw with a washer. Do what you love. I wanna show you guys, these 2 studs must not be like straight in line with the other ones, because the other ones it lined up with, but these 2 it did not. So I don't want to bow this in, because it's gonna, I think, then have a hard time getting the top piece to connect with it. So I'm just gonna put these shims in here, so when I attach these 2 sides, or these 2 points, that doesn't curve inward. And then I'm gonna do the same thing over on this one, just to give it that support. So we're not, again, causing that to curve inward when I slide that next piece on. And just to kind of show you what I was talking about, like over here, that was flush, that was flush, that one wasn't, that one wasn't, that one's flush. So when you step back and look at it, I mean, we'll know once we try to put it in, but we just had shims on these two. But it could have just been that these were a little bit, like those were prouder, those were stuck back a little bit. So that's pretty much it for this bottom piece. Here's what I mean. So let me show you, here's my concern. So this tub is not perfect, right? It could go up a smidge over there, but see this bow from that side in the middle? There's a huge divot in the center, but then we're flush over there and we're flush over there. So no matter what you do, you're fighting that gap. Again, that's not perfectly centered on there. It could go up on the left side a little bit. But flush, huge gap in this Bootz tub. Flush, huge gap. What do you do about that? So is it better just to let that side go down because this gap becomes bigger when we lift that side? I don't know. The nice thing is we're not gluing any of this. We're just nailing it. We're just screwing it. So if we have to, we can make an adjustment. I don't know. The only thing we have to be careful of is when we cut this, sorry, I'm blocking up my body. When we cut this, we're cutting it based on our spacing. And so we don't have, I mean, that flange is gonna come out over a little bit, but we don't have like a ginormous margin of error right here for this piece. I don't know why that dip is there. I don't get it. And if you're wondering, WTH right here, we'll insulate this wall before we'll force it in there. So let's shove that top piece in. So this is upside down. Obviously the ledge is gonna sit on top of the thing we've made. These are going to clip together right there. And here. So we're gonna drop that in and it's gonna clip there and on there and then slide down. So we're gonna lift up and in. So it doesn't just sit. We're gonna clip it in on those pieces, but I'm just gonna try to align it on each side and kind of see. And then we're gonna screw those in at the top, and then you can't see this flange, I'll move it. Up there, this flange is gonna be covered in drywall eventually. So we're gonna screw, I'm gonna screw through it. You could use a screw with a flange on it, whatever you prefer. So I'm just checking, making sure that's good. Yeah, pretty good. We're like slightly off. I mean, we're level, we're bubble in the middle, but slightly to one side. I'm okay with that. So see how that's completely flat on there and then that overhangs? And then here's our clip that we had. It slid into there and then there's the front. I think I might be able to show you on the other side because we have the drywall torn out in the kitchen too. We kind of have this pipe in the way, but same thing. It's on there nice and tight. And then that little piece slid into that piece and it's got some nice hold. And then our other pieces are just gonna slide into the panels here on each side. The nice thing about an enclosure is like it starts to come together. I think you do these projects and you're like, oh, but like it's like putting up drywall, oh, like something looks like it's done and it's done so fast. So that just broke. It's okay, it's gonna go behind the drywall, but I guess be aware that that can crack and split even though you pre-drilled it. That broke really easy. And then the drywall's gonna sit on that and it's gonna protrude a little bit. That's the whole thing with these, is they do stick out a bit. Some people don't like that, depends on the look you're going through. But for a niche or for like an enclosure, it's nice to have such a big shelf for stuff. Now I have to trim a little bit more of this drywall off to be able to get this back piece on. That's gonna be the easiest. And then we're gonna have to measure for our faucet and our valve. So I'm gonna real quick trim this down. Now, they're just gonna tear all this drywall and replace it. We're not trying to, I mean, I could just tear this wall out, but I just don't wanna deal with it right now. So I'm just cutting back as much as I need to. We'll do an extra support here. So where the drywall and this meet, we have some support. It sucks when you don't have something back there. Keep in mind, when you put this in, on this side, you have to come up a little bit and slide into place because it's gonna go into these brackets. And so you wanna cut this enough away on the top that you can slide your panel up and slide it into place. I have not personally ever done one of these where they lined up perfectly close and they click in, but there's always like a little bit of a variance. So I watched a guy do one on YouTube one time and he took his tub out and reset it. And I didn't see if it aligned perfectly, but a lot of these kits are gonna be close but not perfect. We are gonna put this piece in. But I'm gonna show you up here because I wanna see how we show you how we lift up to slide it into place. Because we have these little brackets on the side and ultimately it's gonna click in there. See over here, let me try to show you, like this down here, right here. That is gonna click into there. And then you got another one right there and right there. But in order to get those to go in, you have to lift up enough to slide it into place. So we're gonna actually come in higher, we're gonna push it all the way back, and we're gonna drop it in. So at the top, I'm all the way back as far as I can go, and I'll show you a shot of that. I think I am at the bottom, so now I'm just gonna try to go straight down. Okay, let me show you what I'm talking about. So see how this is all the way up against that, and see how we don't have a gap there? You gotta shove this back while it's up higher, and then drop it down. And we have a nice, right? You can tell it's really locked in there. And even so, this at the top feels really flush. It's not perfect. It's a little bit off. It's close. It's really close, but this side's a little bit higher. So then we're gonna push this back, and I'm catching on something. Okay, see a little piece of drywall, so I'm gonna cut that the rest of the way, and then we'll push that back. We'll attach it up there. I got a little screw I missed back here, a little nail. I was like, how is this not? So I don't have to pull this out, just gonna reach my little reciprocating tool back here and cut that hecker off. There we go. I was like, why is this not? What am I catching on? I'm still gonna make sure everything's tight and smooshed together, and it is. So now we're gonna attach our top plate the same way we did with the back. So I have just two places here. And then I guess you could do one on the side if you wanted to too, but it does crack, so I'm not gonna do it more than I need to. And then we're not worried about that side because it's in those brackets. All right, and then I'm gonna do another screw down here. We have to make cuts in this side, so this one's gonna be a little bit different. Same thing, really, except for that we need to make a measurement and cut that panel. So I am going to see what size of hole saw I need. I'm guessing it's like 3.5, 4 inches, but I don't think I have any hole saws here, so I'm gonna go grab one. I can never find them. I have bought so many of those darn things. Holy moly, you would not even, oh shoot, 4.5, okay. So 4.5 inches for just this little guard they have on here. I always like to look at the actual cover So then I know how much margin of error I have if I adjust or slide it to the side or whatever. So these are all gonna be a little bit different, especially with some of the more modern square ones. But like, so I'm gonna cut a 4.5 inch hole. And I actually would probably cut it a little bit smaller. No, because that's gotta fit. But my little cover plate is like 7 inches. So I have a little bit of wiggle room. If I cut it and I'm like, oh shoot, it doesn't quite line up, I have to trim a little bit more and shove it over. I have a little bit of protection where if my hole's a little bit bigger, this is gonna cover that. So I'm gonna go run and grab a 4.5 inch hole saw, and then we're gonna come back and cut that piece and hopefully just slide it in and keep on moving. I'm super excited, guys. I mean, I know we only have 2 walls in here, but when I bought this is a basement apartment in a triplex, and this apartment needed work, and we knew it'd have to be gutted one day. This was like, you walked in here and it had like little angel accent around the upper part, horrible lighting, it was super dark. You can actually see a little piece of like the little angel like this, it's not torn off yet. Toilet here, but then the shower, it was like this tiny shower, the faucet was here, and you had to come in this way and go in it, and it was so dark. I mean, it was crazy. There was no lighting in there. The shower had leaked. They had tried to put panels over it, I think, to sell it, and so there was a lot of water damage back here. So the fact that this was the standard size to fit a standard tub, and it was this tiny, tiny little shower, it's just crazy to me, and it's so dark in here. So anyway, this is just exciting. It's cool to be able to make spaces more enjoyable for the people that are gonna live in them. And how quick was this? Well, we'll say that once we're done and we actually get like this piece done, but really like super cool. So anyway, let's go get our hole saw.
When I was taking my measurements for how far away my holes would be in my panel, my end of my tape measure would not fit within the channel. So I actually had a couple pieces of metal rod. I just used those and drew a mark, used them like a story stick. If you don't have something like that, you also could just use a ruler. My end of my tape measure wouldn't fit. So I checked, double checked, triple checked, quadruple checked all my measurements, and then I cut my holes in my panel. I was an idiot and I didn't get a hole saw for this smaller hole. And so I had a Forstner bit on site. I would not recommend a Forstner bit for this. It was very, very messy, but I wanted to get the install done, so I cut it with that. You can even just see how much the caulk cleans it up. So like this side and up is caulked, and then under there, because you caulk under that shelf, and then the bottom obviously, and that side and up are not. So really, really transforms it once you add that caulk.